1048. 1048. We got to watch out for a breach from 1048. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. We are digitizing to the YouTube space right now. We are sending our signal. We want you to be able to find us using your encrypted YouTube accounts. Make sure you are not using your public-facing YouTube account, Steve. We are currently beaming out. We hope you can hear us. C-Jops, we see you. C-Jops, we're here. Don't worry, we're not going away. We're just making sure our YouTube signal is stabilized. We are go. Hey there, Foundation staff. This is Sherman, but you can call me Sherm. Welcome to another Anomalous Broadcast from Site-42. For anybody unfamiliar with our show, the rundown goes like this. Number 1, I read you an SCP document. B, I open up the floor to the community to discuss what we've read. We're often visited by SCP authors, staff, and fans. And if we're lucky, the author of the article that themselves shows up to share some insight. Remember that if you'd like to join the conversation yourself, I do monitor the YouTube chat. In between chapters, I answer questions, as will my guest. Also, remember that if you enjoy the show, leave a like and a comment to let us know, subscribe and hit the bell, and if you really want to help us out, become a patron at patreon.com/site42. Just a small bit of channel business before we get into the reading tonight. Number 1, I want you guys to know that Site-42 has a TikTok now. It is very good for all of those very small meme videos that wouldn't make sense on YouTube. It's Vine, but it's TikTok. And apparently we have like 6,000 subscribers now, so we're flying on there. If you want to join in, you know where to go. And also, this is crazy talk. I can't believe I did this. If you want to mail a physical thing to Site-42 to be featured on the stream, you can now do that. Site-42 has a P.O. box, and that P.O. box is Site-42, P.O. Box 5467, San Mateo, California, 94402. If you want to mail us a thing and have us presented on the stream, this is how you do it. We've rented it for 3 months. If it becomes a thing and we want to keep it, we'll keep it. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, let me introduce our guest before we get started. Today, we are lucky enough to be joined by Darkstuff, the author of the Vend-a-Friend series, and hobo who lives on the couch of this podcast. And so let's bring him on. Darkstuff, hello!
Oh. Hello! It is I, Darkstuff, but I have my hair in a ponytail. Also, it's showered, so it's dangly.
So the texture is just so clean, so fresh and so clean.
It's so different. I feel so sparkly, so sheeny.
How was your week, buddy? Was it for sparkly and sheeny as well?
My week was pretty sparkly and pretty sheeny. Also, my God, what is up with my computer now? It's like wiggling every time I talk. Do you see that? It's awful. Ugh. In any case, week good. Week about to get better because stream is always a highlight of my week. Not much else to say, honestly.
We are doing Vend-a-Friend Chapter 12, Deceptive Cadence tonight. Do you have any pre-show for us before we get into it?
Yeah, why is my... yes, the pre-show is that there was a part of this chapter that was not useful for a stream. It was just not going to translate. It was just a gag, and it was a list of things, and it was color-coded, and yada yada. And I encourage y'all to go read it after the stream. It's near the bottom of the chapter. But I removed it and replaced it with some lines that make the transition into the next part better.
I think you've just done something genius.
There is some Site-42 exclusive content, even though it's the most boring exclusive content ever.
I think in the meantime, you've done something genius, which is you've created clickbait to go view your article on the wiki. There's literally a, but wait, there's more.
Yeah, there's more content if you go read the articles, so go do it.
Which is currently on the site at a plus 33. So if you wanted to go enjoy this content and feel like upvoting it, then you could go do that, and they would be happy about that.
Please do.
All right. Chapter 12, Deceptive Cadence. Let's have a sip of anomalous fluid and then get down to it.
Going mute.
All right. Let's do this. Who's saying that? My battle cry of this. Who's saying that? Oh, my God.
It's icky.
It's icky? Oh. Ow!
It's icky.
My God! Yeah, it's pretty big. There was a call, and I thought I'd surprise everyone. We'd surprise everyone with the big reveal. So, here's Pepper. Pepper did a slow, unsure curtsy. That's, me. You're... Wow! Icky's tone felt like a poised cat. Brainy wrung his hands and made every breath deep and filling. Pepper only glanced between the two of them. That's really fantastic! You really outdid yourself, Marty! What a great way to end this set! This circus! This time around! Fucking great! Am I right or am I right, Manny? Sweat worked like a humidifier. Well, this is interesting to say the least. Manny stood from his seat and made his way to Brainy, slipping his arm around his shoulder. No, you can't physically do that. I do not have those joints. Slipping his arm around his shoulder and nudging him ever so slightly towards the exit. Yes, truly! Icky didn't seem to blink. Well, nice to finally meet you in person, Pepper. Say, any way you could get back in the mirror? I'm not sure I get how this works. See this haunted house, man. Big surprise. Invested a lot of time into the marketing here. But I guess that's not necessary anymore. So glad to meet you in person, Pepper. You too, Icky. Well, really? Manny cut Marty off. This is all very interesting, and I'm happy for Pepper too, of course. I'm lucky Lolly will be very excited to hear about this. Yes, and I'm sure there's a lot to discuss, but at this very moment, Icky and I have a lot of paperwork to get through. Oh, Manny, they can just stay a little bit longer if they want to. We're in no rush. I'd be interested to know how you got her out of that mirror, Marty. Or why? Why in the world you did this happen? What miracle paired new hit attraction with ruin it all for everyone? Oh, and how long was this a plan? Would have been nice to know. Icky, I realize we should have warned you, but there was just so much going on, and the circus was up and running, and we really thought people would be excited just to see. I guess we don't need these anymore. Icky violently tore a phone book thick stack of posters into thirds. 'Cause who cares, right? How much effort went into all this stuff? How much resources were poured into that creaky metal but looks like wood mirror filled with money sink house? Inconsequential, honestly, when compared to the whims and wants of Calvin and Hobbes. All right, Marty, Pepper, I think you ought to be going now. Lolly'll be ecstatic. I'll tell her first thing tomorrow morning. All right, kids, the ringmaster and I really have to get to work. Manny pushed, with little to no resistance, Brainy and Pepper out of the tent and into the dusty night. He mouthed, "Go, go, go," to the frightened pair, and soon enough they were walking, perhaps jogging, back into the shadowy visage of the circus. Manny turned around to see a heaving, huffing Icky standing over the corpse of an advertisement for the Rising Star's first ride. Manny slid a small bottle of clown impulse suppressant over to Icky. She batted it off the table. Veronica! This is great! Yeah, I should have had someone keeping a closer eye on him. What was our contract with him? Ride design in a week. Then if we liked it, we kept him. Interesting. Well, how do you like a non-existent ride? Well, we still have the ride itself. I'm sure we can find a replacement for Pepper. In 2 days? We find a new act maybe once a month at best. This was our once-a-month act, and now it's ruined. We can sooner fire this asshole. Look, the kid screwed up. I screwed up, but I still think you're making this out to be worse than it is. Yes, he just cost us our latest attraction, but he also proved to us that he's capable of designing a great attraction. I think that so long as he's supervised, and we make it clear he's not to do this sort of thing again, it's worth giving him a second chance. To fire him now would be to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. Our attraction is defunct. You're right. The set is great, though. It's possible to get Marty to design something using the leftover parts. Well, okay, yes, that's valid. Icky was taken aback for a hot second. Do you have a soft spot for this X-Wondertainment guy, Manny? Manny smiled slightly. I do. I think he's got a whole hell of a lot of conviction. And Wondertainment level skills means big benefit to our circus. Icky sat down and buried her face in her elbows. She sighed. So what if you're right? Okay, we're down our starring latest and greatest sideshow. A damn good sideshow. She lifted her head just to glare at Manny. Not a glare to truly aim at Manny himself, but a glare because all her thoughts were glare-worthy. Fine. You're right. Pepper's happier. Marty's happy that she's happy. He can make more rides. Fine. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it. You have every right not to be happy about it. I am not happy about it. I simply believe that firing Martin now would be a mistake we want to regret. Manny stood for a second, then made his way to his seat. So, we still have a lot of paperwork, but if we work hard, we can get it done in an hour. Icky grumbled. She picked up her pen and flipped to the next set of agreements. Something to do with positioning of tents and how certain size things can only fit certain places. It would require drawing out where everything would be set up, and on such uneven terrain that was easily going to take more than an hour. Manny had already started scribbling on his next paper, but Icky groaned and loathed the paperwork she was faced with. Perhaps in an effort to procrastinate, or perhaps in want of something... Or perhaps in want of getting something out of her system. Or maybe a bit of both. Icky brought something up at a volume louder than needed. There's still something wrong! What have you seen in Marty? What do you mean? Inside him, Manny. What have you seen inside him? Oh. Manny blinked twice. He's hard to read. Aha! And why do you think that is? I can compare what I read to a child. He's somewhat nebulous, like he doesn't think about himself all that often. Like he's not made much of an identity for himself, or decided on any real beliefs or ideals. I think that's fitting coming from Wonderworld. Side note, I'm so mad he didn't say Wonderworld TM. Oh my god. It's starting to bother me because it's been a thing. Okay, we're back. I think that's fitting coming from Wonderworld. TM. The culture's childish indulgence. I wouldn't worry about it. Otherwise, he feels human. Feels human, huh? Yes. Ever met anyone else from Wonderworld? On occasion. Do they really feel the way he does? Manny narrowed his eyes and shifted his cheeks. Manny? He took a soul out of a soul trap mirror. Manny contemplated. I believe that older Dr. Wondertainment models have had soul dealing involved. But not the new ones. Their new management has written that out of their itinerary. And besides, a soul doesn't automatically equal a body, right? Where did that come from? Manny tightened up. I'm not versed in soul arts. That could have been in the mirror. Have you heard the rumors? Manny sighed. How could I have not have? What if he's crazy, Manny? Would that account for not being able to read him? Manny finally stopped writing and set down his pen, looking straight ahead, thinking. Well? Manny exhaled in what might have been annoyance. Some forms of madness can interfere. Is possible. So we're left with an ex-Wondertainment employee who showed up out of nowhere into the middle of a show of all things, and he seems entirely off kilter, is hard to read. Rumors start that he's some kind of homicidal. And then later we learn he has nose. He has nose? Okay, Darkstuff, that's for you to fix later. And then later, we learn he knows soul arts of all things, including vessel creation. In fact, including flesh vessel creation. Where did he learn that? Why would a Wondertainment employee who wasn't even there long enough to get a single toy out be able to do that? Manny breathed out through his nose, pursed his lips, and made eye contact with Icky. Oh God, who's talking? Darkstuff, help me.
Sorry, I was trying to help you. Anyways,
Grunt.
Icky is talking
Okay,
with
good,
who
thank
was
you.
that person.
Who was the person he said stole his idea? It was a man named Brainy Brian Harding. Supposedly a big Dr. Wondertainment name. Anyone looked that up? Investigated it? At all? Manny grunted. We don't normally do background checks due to someone's distaste for paperwork. Icky snickered, and they shared a smile. Manny took a large breath, shifted the corners of his lips, and then picked up and waggled his pen. Well? Manny began to write once more. You're absolutely right. He's suspicious. I'll look into it once we get the internet back up and running. Should occur tomorrow, if Gary's on schedule. Okay. Icky seemed satisfied. Good. She sat back down and pulled out a pen, ready to mark up the map with all the tent locations. Chapter break. You told me I can't wait until you read tomorrow, and now I see why, you bastard.
Yeah, you gave Icky a difficult voice to keep up, dude.
All day long!
If you ever look back over this stream, you might notice that I was doing like worried expressions like this, and that's because you were cutting out a lot at certain parts.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh no, am I losing my connection? But that wasn't on the stream, I don't think, because I'm listening to you through Discord, and that's not how the stream's listening to you, so.
We've got our
Should
fingers
be
crossed that the stream sounds fine.
Mm-hmm. What's going on in the chat? They would tell us if it sounded weird.
What we know right now is that these are Icky is definitely at least one half Dr. Spanko, and that Ann Howe voice is in there.
Mm-hmm.
C-Jop says we're good. C-Jop says we're good. We got this. Our hero in the chat.
Thank you,
I'm just going to point out, as a narcissist, that there are 9 concurrent viewers and 3 likes. You need to do better. Pout. Pout. The mightiest of pouts.
I thought we were celebrating.
No, there's like 3 times as many viewers as there are likes. You should be liking the stream. You need to do better. I need to do better.
Oh. Yeah, or you need to earn the likes.
I need to earn the
People
likes.
are
I need
still
to
on the fence.
I need to get into the stream, guys. I need to work it. I need to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
There was a paragraph that you read as Manny that was supposed to be read as Icky, which I noticed not only because I know the story, but also because it was a paragraph where you made Manny really, really angry when he was supposed to be mostly calm while Icky was freaking out.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
Oh no, I Dumbledored it. Did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Thank you, Katie.
Okay.
All right. Everybody take a sip of your anomalous fluid. We move on to the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one more thing. I gave out the P.O. box for the channel, and C-Jobs points out, lol, you just opened yourself up to all the anomalous adult toys. I know!
Thank you.
I'm doing this for you, fam. I'm doing this for you.
Little did they know that was part of the idea. You're like, yes.
That's how you get likes, bro. That's how you get likes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here we... Site-42 OnlyFans? No! We just barely got to TikTok. No, we do not get an OnlyFans until 500,000 fans on YouTube. All right. It's done. Chapter break complete. Here we go. Brainy and Pepper walked into the break room of Clown Alley, where only a lone girl who looked like she had just come from a day at the beach idled. Looking over her shoulder from filling her cup full of hot water for tea, her eyes widened, and she pressed harder on the dispenser's button. Soon after, she rushed off behind a curtained door. Brainy drooped, and Pepper patted him on the back. Don't worry, I'm used to it, Brainy sighed. The two passed through a different curtained doorway and snuck through tight hallways fitted with 4 cots, 2 on each side, loaded with a sleeping clown or performer. Those through several similar halls, past a bathroom, and through a storage closet, Brady and Pepper came to a row of doors that led to real, actual rooms. The one labeled 04 was Brainy's, and, in the very dim lighting of a flashlight with adjustable brightness that Brainy had made himself, he fumbled the keys that Manny had given him to the lock. These quarters were honorary, and the privilege of staying in them was gifted to those who had done something substantially good for the circus as of late. Brainy was awarded with this room after he had finished Pepper's House of Mirrors. Brainy expected that he would only have the room for this occasion, but after that interaction with Ringmaster Icky, Brainy was certain of it. Brainy and Pepper filed in through the slim door, Brainy having to duck because of the low ceiling, and quietly closed the entrance. Afterwards, Brainy moseyed toward his bed and sat so he didn't have to crane his neck while standing. Pepper was perfect height for this room, though, so was able to comfortably stand upright. Brainy. Okay. I'm sorry. Don't be. I should have told him we were getting you a body. I should have waited until I had another idea for a ride at the very least. This was stupid of me. I'm impulsive. I'm sorry. You have nothing to be sorry about. I'm happy no matter if Icky is pissy about my very existence. You don't have to worry about me. I've dealt with like 150 years of something of people's bullshit. I've dealt with like 150 years of something or other. I've dealt with like 150 years or something of people's shit. I've dealt with like 150 years or something of people's shit. If there's anyone to worry about, it's you. The flashlight's sole illumination of the room left only Brainy's arms and feet particularly visible, along with a sizable stretch of brown shag carpet. Was Brainy's only response. 30 seconds passed in awkward silence. Brainy sniffled. Oh, don't tell me you're crying. I'm not crying. Brainy's hand disappeared into the darkness, where his head must have been. It's okay. It's okay. Pepper sat down next to Brainy and rubbed his back. You put too much credence into what others think of you. Image is everything, Brainy mumbled in automatic response. Look, tomorrow she'll have calmed down and we can handle this like adults. She's just going to throw a fit because this wasn't what was planned. But we're not going anywhere. It'll be fine. Brainy sniffled. You think so? You really think so? I do. Brainy spent a calming moment allowing Pepper to just rub his back. The repetitive, tactile motion slowly brought Brainy down to a normal energy level once more. Or, at least close. He wiped his nose with his hand, wiped his hand on the scratchy wool blanket, and then felt for his lunchbox on the shelf nearest him. He knew he had left it there, but he didn't remember where. It took a much longer lean than he had expected to finally fondle a cold metal impression in the dark. After acquiring his lunchbox, Brainy opened it and pulled out a turkey sandwich. Along with it, a bottle of purple pills labeled Emergency Clown Impulse Suppressant. Pepper stiffened at the sight of it. Brainy took 2 pills out, popped them in his mouth, and then bit a large mouthful of sandwich. Pepper's reassuring rubbing stopped, and she slowly lowered her hand. Brainy managed through a sandwich after swallowing. Something wrong? Nothing, Brian. It's nothing. Oh, no! She called him Brian. That was... What? What? No! That's not what I was expecting to happen. Okay, I'm fine. Let's keep going. Nothing, Brian. It's nothing. Brainy fondled his pill bottle and then set it back inside his box. It's okay. I don't like me either. No, Brainy, it's not that. Pepper sat with her hands on her knees. I like you. There's nothing about me to like. There's plenty about you to like. I'm scum, Brainy's voice cracked. Wait. I'm scum, Brainy's voice cracked. I'm the worm in the apple, and people revolt when they bite into me. No, that's just not true. Brainy, you are the shiny apple. These pills keep you that shiny apple. The worm isn't you, it's just in you. You're a benefit to everyone, everywhere you go. You make great toys, you'll make great rides, and the circumstances under which everything started getting fucky weren't under your control. You are fine, and Pepper swallowed her words. I've known people who have done much, much worse, and in full control of their mental faculties. You are nowhere near them, Brian. You're much better than that. Brainy didn't respond, but was shaking. He was leaning on his elbows now, and the flashlight had fallen to the floor, uncooperatively illuminating a small section of shelf where Brainy kept his shoes. What? I read one paragraph ahead, sorry. You care? You mean well, and you help people. Whenever you can, you help people. Not even okay people do that. That's a good guy move. You're the good guy. I'm the bad guy. Duh. You are the good guy. You came into my life, cared even though I pushed you away like I sometimes do with people. Then you built me a house, gave me books to read, gave me mobility and a sense of freedom. Then you gave me a body, a real, actual body, and I still can't believe it. You made me feel. Sure, like feel things emotionally, positively, for which it had been a while, but you made me feel, actually feel things. Pepper wrapped her arms around Brainy's midriff, to which Brainy flinched. Damn it, look what you've done. Now we're both crying. Nice going. Brainy hiccuped what could have been a sunken laugh. After about 3 minutes of Pepper holding Brainy, he finally began to stop shaking. It was more akin to shuddering at this point. Every once in a while, Brainy would let out a gasp for air, and then shudder, and then he stopped shaking for a little bit. This lasted until the flashlight turned off on its own. As Brainy had built in an automatic timer for it as long as no one was holding it. He had a knack for the small things in products. You shouldn't trust me. I trust you. I'm not worth trusting. Pepper only gave him a squeeze. I trust you. Chapter break. Whoa! Whoa! First of all, I'm the bad guy. Lol.
No. This came out way before that song came out.
I know it did, so tell me where that came from.
That's not supposed to be him singing. That's supposed to be him stuttering through it. Like, I'm the bad guy. Like, you know how you do when you cry, when you're crying, and you, like, can't talk?
I'm so glad that many years later, I can insert a pop culture reference in there. Because it even looks like it the way it's, like, stuttered.
Mm-hmm.
It was lovely. I was very excited. I knew it couldn't be that, but I had to do that. And then also, okay, but what I freaked out about before, Pepper called him Brian, called him Brainy. Has that happened before this? That hasn't happened before.
That has not happened before this.
She recognized it from the pill bottle then.
No. Last chapter, a scene, the second to last scene ended with there's a lot that I haven't told you and that I need to tell you because I think I can trust you, but I'll start simple. I died, but I made a body and I came back to life, and I can do the same for you. And then that scene cuts off, and then we get to the scene where he introduces Pepper to Icky. So that's supposed to have happened. Him explaining himself is supposed to have happened off screen.
Okay. See, now this is where the critique comes in. I haven't had a lot of critique this entire time, but now I have one. Okay. A big enough spoiler of him revealing his identity probably should have happened in story. At least on camera. Because I was like, that's a huge reveal. Did she just out him? Did she discover? What is going on? This is huge. And it wasn't. Oh.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right. So for once, I have something negative to say. That is rare on this channel. But even then, it's still pretty okay.
All right.
That thing you wrote when you were 15, it has flaws. You are surprised.
Oh my God. What?
How dare.
That's crazy. That's insanity. I don't believe you, honestly.
Oh, man.
I think you're full of lies.
What a jerk. All right. Perfect. Chapter. Next. Continue. Another location was closing. This time the role of janitor was shared between people as it had always been. so Brainy was helping pack up the haunted house. He was precariously leaning over the edge of the roof to unscrew some of the windows that were unreachable from the inside. Pepper had been pulled aside by a very excited Lolly earlier, so Brainy was left with the same crew who had helped him put up the house in the first place. Dr. Tinkles was one of them, and he had given him a new bottle of pills early that morning. Brainy was still nervous about his next interactions with Icky and Manny, but Pepper had consoled him well enough to let him push the thoughts aside for the moment. Laying down on metal in the direct heat of the sun was making Brainy sluggish and sweaty. The noise of the circus was like a bomb continuously going off. Voices, power tools, metal and wooden clanking, the engines of the trailers driving around and picking materials up, animal grunts from the petting zoo, not to mention some elephant noises from the pens where they keep their non-humanoid performers. It had started early that morning and had been going for 2 hours now. Pause. I just want to lay this out there for people who are fans of the channel. That paragraph made me think of a thing. If you, like Dillagaff in the chat, like Dillagaff in the chat who suggested it to me, you need to go see the video on this channel named "Your Call is Very Important to Us." Because it is a Herman Fuller tale that goes through several different scenes of the circus, and the tale itself is good, but I'm going to toot my own horn and say the feeling of going through all of the different scenes with sound effects and crazy zany circus music is one of my favorite videos on my channel. It's wacky and I enjoy it. Go.
I recommend it as well. Do it.
Yes. All right, continuing on. It reminded Brainy of the reorganization of Wonder Tower, TM, it doesn't say. The Candy Catalyst's big boom in workers required more office space. And unlike how some people think, extra-dimensional space doesn't just pop out of thin air. It's especially difficult, not to mention dangerous, to put extra-dimensional space inside of extra-dimensional spaces, like Wonderworld TM, thank you. People weren't allowed to know where Wonderworld TM really was on Earth, but it was a poorly kept secret that Wonderworld TM wasn't in its own dimension. If Wonderworld TM were to entirely relocate, perhaps a whole dimension would have been made for it. But too much time and effort had been put into the current location. It would have to be an emergency for Wonderworld TM to try and do something as cataclysmic as relocate. And it would take magic and wonder that even Wonderworld TM wasn't capable of to make a space into its own dimension. And that's why the Candy Catalyst's office had to be built as a new addition to Wonder Tower. Wonder Tower doesn't get the TM, my apologies. And the logistics of making all that happen required help beyond just the Builder Bully's abilities. Tangent, I see the phrase Builder Bullies, and I worry about the Builder Bears. SCP-1048. That terrified me for a moment in my brain. Help beyond just the Builder Bully's abilities. Brainy remembered having to share the Toy Tinker offices with some Candy Catalysts, the constant in and out of bullies, and the interminable sounds of those who were just working away and expanding the tower just next door. It's now become a staple of the Wonderworld TM skyline to include the small bump on the side of Wonder Tower that is the Candy Catalyst offices. Some less than nice people called it the Candy Catalyst Cyst. Brainy didn't much appreciate that name. He knew some people who worked there, and that was just disrespectful. Who's saying hey? Suited up Manny. Brainy toss a screwdriver. I'm going to go with Manny.
It's Icky.
It's Icky. Thank you, Darkstuff. Hey! Bernie 2020, it's too late. Brainy perked up. In the crowd, at the edge of the clearing made for Pepper's House of Mirrors, Brainy spotted the violet highlights and black hair that marked an inbound Icky. Several steps behind her strode the suited-up Manny, walking at a notably slower pace. Brainy tossed the screwdriver and screws he was holding into a small plastic bin that was at risk of melting on the searing metal roof. Brainy then clambered onto the ladder to get down to ground level. Brushing some of the dust off himself, Brainy made eye contact with a ringmaster whose steps were large and eyes were glowing bright enough to be noticed even in daylight. Morning, Icky. How may I help you? Morning, Brainy. Brainy's eyes widened, jaw dropped, and heart skipped a beat. Brainy? Yeah! No, wait, no, that was Brainy talking. At being found out. Brainy? Ugh! Icky picked Brainy up by the throat and pushed him against the hot shell of Pepper's House of Mirrors. Brainy kicked and flailed, attempting to choke something out, anything, but was finding himself unable to breathe. Your first mistake was kidnapping kids! Brainy ground his teeth and intermittently opened and closed his mouth. Your second mistake was killing them! Icky slammed Brainy's head through a protruding steel bar. And your third mistake was choosing to hide your pedophilic, creepy ass in the safe haven of the circus! Icky kicked Brainy so hard in the stomach that he felt like vomiting, but the bile couldn't come up through his throat due to how hard Icky was squeezing it. Through his slowly fading vision, Brainy could make out Manny calmly walking into view. I had high hopes for you, Brian. This is disappointing, to say the least. And then, it was all black. Great, Brainy thought to himself. So this is how I go. Plan B failed. And I don't have another body. I spent all that time that I could have spent making a third body making Pepper one. So that's off the table. And my vision's already gone, so I only have a couple more fleeting seconds of consciousness left in me anyways. This'll be interesting. Time to die for real. Yay! Who's looking on the bright side? No, what? It's still Brainy. Is he talking to himself? He's talking to himself.
He's not talking to himself. If quotes don't end on a paragraph and then quotes begin the next paragraph, then that is saying that the same person is talking.
Ooh,
I've seen it in stuff like
cue.
Lord of the Rings and other books.
Neat. Time to die for real. Yay. Well, let's look on the bright side. I probably deserve this. No, more than probably. I definitely deserve this. This is fully deserved. I'd love to say that I died without regrets, but there were many regrets. Many. 1, should have handled the Polly situation better. 2, shouldn't have taken my meds. 3, dear Lord, I shouldn't have done anything I did not. Dear Lord, I shouldn't have done anything I did past not taking my meds. And 4, they're right. I shouldn't have tried to hide my fugitive self in their circus. That was putting them in undue danger. Wait a tangent! Wait a tangent! Not his regret is killing those children. What?
He said, Dear Lord, I shouldn't have done anything I did past not taking my meds.
Okay.
I thought that
Sherman is just saying that probably deserved its own mention. Brainy.
Well, I justified it to myself when writing it by saying he doesn't like thinking about that, so he skips over it.
Okay.
So he summarizes it under something else.
I will go with the author on this one. Okay. But hey, there are things I liked about my life. Let's see. All my toys. I wonder if Jellywell Emperor ever got made. If it wasn't finished before I died, it probably won't have been finished. Not if Wondertainment figured out what happened to me, or what did. They wouldn't honor someone as disgusting as me by making my toy design after my supposed death. They're classier than that. I miss 3T. I miss Judy. I'm gonna miss Pepper. I really liked her. Plus, she was pretty cute. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty cute too. I'm gonna miss doing my face paint. That made me feel really cute. And dressing up in my purple and tiger striped suit? That felt great. But I get it. I did horrible things. I did horrible things most people would not do for certain. I hurt people who I haven't even met because I was thinking only about myself, so I deserve this. Sweet release. Take me away. Why haven't I died yet? Oh, don't freaking kid me like this. Summon Lollipop. Play my favorite song? Okay, so not in my headspace. Come on. I can't always cheat death. What's going on? Sounding almost like whispers somewhere in the distance. Why isn't he dead yet? And somewhere else, for even further, a voice like Tingle's rung. Oh my god, I was worried about this tangent. Do you remember what Tingle sounded like?
Very, very grumbly, like this. Pretty sure.
All right, we're going with that.
Okay.
It must be the emergency clown impulse suppressant. It's making him more clown-like, and thus stronger. More clown-like? Oh, fine, just snap his neck. Stronger? Here goes nothing.
You're reading this slightly wrong.
Yeah, no, who are these people?
Whenever it is not the double commas, it's Brainy. So more clown-like is him speaking to himself.
So quotations are Brainy right now, and double commas are people who he can't hear because he's fading out.
People who he can barely hear.
Okay, so more clown-like. Oh, fine, I'll just snap his neck. Stronger? Here goes nothing. Really? Really? And a 1, and a 2, and a 3? Oh, this is just ridiculous. Brainy's eyes shot open to see Icky still seething with her hands around Brainy's neck. But this time, Brainy had a plan. Brainy grabbed the steel pipe from before, wrenched it out of the side of the haunted house, and rammed it into Icky's ribs. Into Ricky's ibs. Rammed it into Icky's ribs. Icky sputtered as the air was knocked out of her lungs. Brainy gasped as the grip on his neck was loosened and fell to the ground. But Icky wasn't out for long. Brainy rolled out of the way of a dirt-flinging punch and jumped to his feet. Brainy began instinctively to sprint, but was met with a small crowd of circus freaks who pushed him back into the ring with Icky. With stunning fear, Brainy realized that they had been surrounded, and he was stuck with the crazed clown reader. And he was stuck with a crazed clown leader. Ha! Ringmaster. He was stuck in a ring of people with the ringmaster. Brainy thought that was funny. But he was brought back to reality with a foot to his face. Brainy stumbled back into the crowd, who once again pushed him towards Icky, who landed a punch straight to his groin. Just fucking die already! Icky reeled back, practically winding up her fist for the finishing blow on Brainy when... tink! Icky blinked thrice, rubbed her head, and almost lost her balance. What did... Brian! A Pepper rushed out of the crowd, carrying Brainy's prototype silly string, a little something he was working on, which was sure to make any meanie more lighthearted and fun. However, in its unfinished state, it seemed to only leave people dazed and confused. Lucky coincidence? No matter. Pepper pulled Brainy to his feet, and an awestruck crowd barely even moved. Brainy, come on, get to it. We haven't got all day. Pepper slapped him hard across the cheek. This thing doesn't last long. Come on. Brainy shook himself conscious. Pepper took him by the hand, and they ran in the direction that Pepper came in. Manny only looked at the immobile crowd in disbelief. Really? Just going to stand there? The freaks exchanged glances with each other. No, they weren't just going to stand there. A loud "Rah!" absorbed the airspace, and soon a mob of clowns, freaks, and even some animals were chasing after the pair of wrongdoers. Where are we going, Pepper? I don't know. I hadn't thought this far. Where should we go? Brainy! Somewhere behind the crowd, a chilling scream of Icky reached the frantic fugitives. Rounding corners, passing tents, passing the bewildered looks of those who were still doing their jobs and hadn't witnessed the scene in front of the haunted house, Brainy searched his head for a quick solution. Wonderworld TM! I can open a way. Then what are you waiting for? Do it! Clearance code 4620! Round and round and round we go! Pepper and Brainy could feel rocks reaching their backs. A poem kept in utter secret! Shame on you if you should speak it! A gunshot rung from behind, and the bullet struck into a wooden pole on their left. Icky came tangent. Oh God, was I scared someone just got shot. I am invested in this story. Mm-hmm. And if someone had been shot there, I would have cried. Continuing on. A gunshot rung from behind, and the bullet struck into a wooden pole on their left. Icky came into view from around a tent ahead, bolting straight forward towards them. Wanting just to go away? Open a wonder world way! Brainy and Pepper were surrounded in candy-colored light before vanishing into glitter and confetti. The crowd scared to a stop and grunted in confusion and anger. Damn it! Icky kicked at the sparkly spot that they had left. Manny calmly strolled up towards the place where they had left, squatted down, and inspected. After rubbing away the pixie dust and knocking twice on the ground, he seemed satisfied. Looks like they opened a way and closed it as quickly. Back to Wonderworld? Seems like it. Well, at least they aren't our problem anymore. Icky sighed deeply. God damn it! All right, everybody, back to work! The crowd moaned and slunk back to their respective jobs. That was guaranteed to be the most exciting thing that happened all day, and it lasted a little less than 5 minutes. Disappointing, really, but the circus went back to its usual... Disappointing, really, but the circus went back to its usual cycles. The next location was sure to be a big boon, anyways, so that would be a lively week. All right, Manny, if you could procure the list... I had it ready in preparation. Perfect. Manny handed Icky a clipboard that contained a yellowed and torn piece of paper. The top of the paper once read, Enemies of Herman Fuller, but the previous ringmaster's name had been crossed out, and now it read, Enemies of the Circus of the Disquieting. Purple pen, please. Manny handed Icky her signature shade, and she made the following addition. 47. Brainy Brian Harding. Chapter break. So that's the part we omitted.
Mm-hmm. I will say, I think that you've been hitting the anomalous fluid a bit too hard. Speech has seemed difficult.
I did a combination of 2 anomalous fluids, and I also did 2 audio SCPs and 2 video SCPs today. So your researcher's
could
feeling a
scramble
little
the
winded.
brain. Understood.
And also, I've got Katie, my lovely couch girlfriend, who is startled every time Icky yells. Because Icky yells a lot, apparently.
She does yell a lot. Yelling is a constant thing for Icky, which was why I thought that your choice of voice for her was kind of hilarious.
Just the wisest of ideas.
In any case, there's a very short last section, and then we can talk overall. So
The grand finale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I have so many things to say at the end of this. I'm so excited. In some hallway, in some building somewhere, a well-dressed representative had just come back from their stay at the circus to give a report to his bosses, and he brought with him some perplexing news. Someone had made a body and transferred a soul into it? That was really interesting. In all of Victor Chan's career... Oh no. Tangent, oh no. He'd heard only a few things about vessel creation and soul arts. Everything pointed to them being extremely difficult and extremely rare. Especially flesh vessel creation. Especially cosmetically pleasing flesh vessel creation. I fucking knew it. Marshall, Carter, and Dark were going to have to hear about this. Victor figured they'd be very excited to know. Son of a bitch, he said at the end of the story.
Uh-huh.
Victor Chan!
Mm-hmm.
You mother... We're doing this!
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 chapters left, and
There are.
MCD is here.
Mm-hmm.
God help us.
Deceptive Cadence was a very full chapter, wasn't it?
There was so much going on. It started with, I mean, honestly, if there were like one little paragraph, either at the end of last chapter or at the beginning of this one, where Brainy tells Pepper who he is,
Oh no.
then that was my one
no,
complaint.
You're cutting. It's doing the thing.
Oh no, Discord audio, come back. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you
Sort of.
say one sentence?
I'm going to keep talking until Darkstuff says he can hear me. I can do
No,
this all
you're
day.
still cutting out for me. Oh, no.
Damn it.
No. No. Okay, what about now?
Maybe turn off the Discord audio and start listening on YouTube, except there's a 30-second delay. That won't be great, but I
Nope.
mean...
Now I can hear you. You're perfectly fine. Okay,
We're fine. We're
continuing
perfectly
from here.
fine. So,
Yay.
except for my one complaint that I would have
Right.
liked Pepper and Brainy to reveal his identity to her on page rather than off camera.
Right.
Once that was like, that immediately got me into high gear. But then everything else in this chapter, frickin' Icky and Manny, I can't believe you've done this. Have you seen the Vine with the English guy who gets slapped and he's
Yes.
just like, oh, fuck, I can't believe
fuck.
you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this. Yes, I have.
So that's the perfect Vine for the opening of this. And then Brainy tries to choke a bitch, or Icky tries to choke a bitch, and that's amazing. Like, I am so... People don't realize that, like, bad things happening to your party in D&D are how the story moves forward. And so it was so much better, not that they had a frank conversation and talked it out, but that Icky came for his throat and fucking almost killed him. That was the perfect way to continue this story.
Thank you.
I am so pleased. That was so good. And then they teleport it out, which is the result of that. And then other people now know about what they are and what they're doing because of it. This is story and consequences 101 in this story. It is masterful. I am about it.
Thank you. They're also, so other things set up in this. They teleported to Wonderworld, TM. And the the chapter ends with Marshall Carter and Dark getting a name drop.
Yeah,
So
I was
this has-
actually a little confused about why MCD showed up like after they transitioned to Wonderworld. And so I am curious. I don't know if that's spoiler or if it's a wait for it.
It's a wait for it.
Okay.
But you do know Victor Chan.
I've heard the name. I am familiar with Victor Chan.
Victor Chan's thing in the Dread and Circuses canon, off of which Icky and Manny kind of originate. Not really. They were someone else's. They were Pepper Ghost's character before, but then they were written about by Dr. Chandra. Anyway, big old thing. In that canon, Victor Chan is the liaison between Marshall Carter and Dark and the Circus of the Disquieting, and he's mostly the main character for a lot of that canon, because he's supposed to be the straight man that is observing how crazy the circus gets. So he's good for gags.
And I remember that because he does show up, and that's where I know him from. Your call is important to us. He does show up in that one.
Yep. And I figured, I'd already made Icky and Manny part of the plot, and I'd already name dropped Lolly like so many times that it's weird that I never gave her a scene where she talked. Which I'm very conscious of, and reading it back over, it's really weird that she's like. If someone hadn't read Dread and Circuses before and knew who Lolly was, it would be really strange that Lolly keeps getting mentioned in this.
So is it weirder for people who have read it or weirder for people who haven't? Because people who haven't, they're just like, who's this Lolly? Who's Lolly? Who's Lolly?
That's what I mean. Yeah, people who haven't read Dread and Circuses are probably going like, why is there this character that keeps getting name dropped and then is never given a scene? Like, you would think that they're building her up or something, and then she just doesn't show up. Like, Pepper talks about her. Icky name drops her a couple times. Pepper name drops her again. Like, it's weird. It's weird, and I would have done it differently.
No, and you even name drop Gary.
Yep, I did name drop Gary. Although that was just supposed to be a single name drop, to be like, hey, you remember, people who know.
And because I have my whole familiarity with the circuses is only that one tale. So but I am intimately in touch with Gary specifically. So when I read that name, I had to fucking in my brain stop, because I was like, oh, I remember you.
Yeah.
Victor Chan, I know you. Ay. All right. Should we any hints for things we should be ready for in the next week?
The next chapter, we probably want to start earlier or plan on going late. It is really long.
I feel more comfortable starting on time and going late just because it's a good start time that everyone knows. But yes, I will. I will expect to stay late next time. Then
I'll also, and maybe do some vocal warm ups or save your voice, because there's a lot of voices too. It's a lot. It's big.
13 to 15. We're getting into the end game, man.
The next chapter also, I'm gonna say, this is another thing I would have done differently if words could come to me, that'd be really nice. Brain, please start working. If I wrote this now, I wouldn't have included this next tale as part of this series, but now it's kind of in the legacy of this series, and it's rated really well, so it's not like I'm going to remove it. it's an intermission, and it doesn't really directly add to the story. So you're gonna have to hang on that cliffhanger that we just left on for like another chapter, another week.
Chapter 13, the intermission.
Mm-hmm. It's it's a really fun story. I think I'm really proud of it, but it didn't need to be in Vend-a-Friend.
It could have just been a tale in the canon, but not part of the
Exactly.
series.
But this, why it was part of the series is because I didn't have the canon yet, and so I wanted all the tales that were written in this setting to be in the same place, and the only hub I had was Vend-a-Friend. So that's why it ended up here, and I figured out where to put it in this series.
Yeah, because
But
you look at the
now it
What a
makes
Wonderful
less sense.
World canon now, and there's so many different things in that same canon.
Mm-hmm.
Which, all right, before we sign out, I'm curious. So,
Mm-hmm.
if someone were to write something in the What a Wonderful World canon, what
Mm-hmm.
are those criteria?
Ooh. Um, I actually have some criteria up here. How about I read to you the splash thing on the front of the What a Wonderful World canon, which kind of goes over how to write for it.
Give it to us, because that hasn't been on the
All
channel
right.
yet.
So the little title for this section is Dr. Wondertainment is cleaning up its image. This isn't 100% about Dr. Wondertainment, which may come as a surprise. Certainly that's the foundation, haha, of everything here, but it's not really the full picture. But let's start there. This canon is mainly set in the anomalous city of Wonderworld, TM, which does indeed exist on Earth as an extra-dimensional space somewhere in Boston, Massachusetts, United States of America. Wonderworld, TM, is host, of course, to the company of Dr. Wondertainment and to a large population, I mean, think medium-sized city, of magical, wondrous people. The culture is built on childlike innocence, willing naivety, whimsy, and a deep appreciation for the goodness that can be found in each and every person. But, of course, nothing's perfect. What a Wonderful World is not about ignoring the dark, disturbing, horribly effed up world that is the Foundation verse. It's about finding reasons to be happy and pushing through it in spite of that. One person may look at a Wonder World TM denizen and call them in denial. Another may call them optimistic. It all depends on interpretation. Some key points about this canon's Dr. Wondertainment. Here are bullet points. First, the goal of the company is, truly, to make child's lives more magical. Second bullet point. If there is anything shady going on at Wondertainment, it is under the nose of upper management. Third bullet point. Dr. Wondertainment is a title. Each Dr. Wondertainment chooses the next Dr. Wondertainment with the approval of a committee made of the heads of all departments. The title itself may or may not have some magical effect on the bearer. Fourth bullet point. Dr. Wondertainment has multiple departments, the most famous of which is the Toy Creation Department, but there are also notably the Sweets and Consumables Department, the Construction Department, the Public and Human Relations Department, etc., all of which have cutesy names, such as the employees of the Sweets and Consumables Department being called Candy Catalysts. Fifth bullet point. Dr. Wondertainment was founded in 1909 by Chester Williams, the original Dr. Wondertainment, and Maria Herring, the original Toy Tinker. The first store was in Boston and was called Dr. Wondertainment's World of Whimsy. Sixth bullet point. The misters are handled very differently. That's about all the information I'm willing to fit into this introduction. If you're really hoping to write for the canon or get a good understanding of it, then I would simply recommend you read some of the articles available. Oh, and speaking of read some of the articles, below are some good intro articles for people wishing to write for What a Wonderful World. If you have any questions or just want to chat with the authors, you can catch us at #WonderWorld over on IRC. Enjoy the canon! I'm actually going to remove that IRC chat because it was never used.
Oh, no.
So,
Instead, find us on Discord.
yeah, why not?
You
Or
can
just like PM me, the main author of this canon.
hunt us
Like I
down
check my
personally.
wiki.pms.
Hunt down
Mhm.
Darkstuff on any service which Darkstuff is available.
Yeah, so that's basically the canon. There is a bullet point that I'm going to change, although actually changing it is kind of a spoiler, so I'm not going to change it actually. It's a good summary. But
Not until the finale is done.
yeah, I have like a really big long storyline I want to tell with this canon that I'm setting up pawns for. And eventually the hub is currently in chronological order. Eventually the hub is not going to be in chronological order, but instead just be in something called I haven't thought of a catchy name for it, but basically just recommended reading order, which will jump all over the timeline, but give like what I think is a good flow of like all the players ending up in their respective spaces. Probably Vend-a-Friend would start it because Vend-a-Friend literally did start the canon, so it was made to be introductory. Uh, and then I would jump all over the place for other things.
But like the
And
Star
then it would
Wars
all
movies, everyone has an opinion on what
Mhm.
order to read them.
Mhm.
And, if Darkstuff has an opinion on how to read them, that's at least a weighted vote in that direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep the chronological order as its own section, and then in like under a collapsible, it's like if you want to keep the timeline straight, this is the order in which things happen. But the main list is going to be the recommended reading order, which is going to try and make things into like big story arcs, and the one-off tales are going to be like intermissions between these bigger series. There are already 2 series written in this canon. 3 more that are started, 2 of which are started by me, 1 of which is started by Malice Aforethought. So things are
Get
okay.
pizza.
All right. Although I would like to okay, now that we are both here, I want to see what's happening in the chat. What's happening in the chat? I saw some people talking.
So the chat,
Icky is
my favorite thing is that Icky needs fan art. People make fan art of
Yeah.
Icky and tag us at TheeSherm on it so that we know where it is. Find us on Discord, find us on Twitter, get us that Icky fan art.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Do it now. We did get the thing that won the art contest by far that had Icky in it
It did.
way back. So there's at least one thing of her. In any case, I want to go get pizza, and I'm really looking forward to next time when we're gonna have the really long stream.
Go
In
get
fact, I should
pizza
like
and prepare for
I
the
feel
very long stream.
I think we should call it. I'll talk to you about this personally. I want to do something special for it because it is so long. Like maybe pass it off between people. I'm not sure. Big question mark there, but that's an idea. Okay, I'm going.
Goodbye, Dark Stuff.
Bye bye.
Say goodbye, cast.
Bye.
All right, so Dark Stuff is gone for the night, and you've heard that next week is going to be crazy. It's going to be long. It's going to be difficult, and we're going to deal with it. So be on time for next week's stream. Get ready for the long haul. Bring snacks. Bring drinks. Do your calisthenics. Do your vocal. I'll do my vocal warm-ups. You do your listening warm-ups. And final is the final as always. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoyed the read. I hope you enjoyed the crazy things we voiced tonight. I hope you enjoyed Dark Stuff's insight. And if you like the show, like, subscribe, hit the bell, become a patron, the YouTube special, and we will see you guys in the next stream.